Hello traders, this is Tom Willis from Opteck. Good day to you all. Today it's the 9th of September 2013. As you can see, we had several announcements this morning, but we didn't have a lot of important issues. Most announcements are orange or yellow, and that implies that they won't really express large movement once they'll be published. We had an announcement regarding the Chinese market, but again, we can't trade that currency, and we didn't have a lot of effect on other currencies as well. At 1:30 p.m., which is approximately an hour from now, we've got an announcement regarding the Canadian dollar. That will be a building permits, and we're waiting to see if that will move the market. As you can see, usually the forecast on that specific announcement is wrong. It's not implying the actual number. We can see that the actual figure that we're seeing when the announcement is published, it's totally different than forecast. Then we're expecting the amount of liquidity to express on the chart because that is a red announcement. After that, we've got an announcement on the US dollar, but as you can see, that's a very low importance on that specific announcement, and I'm not expecting it to deliver a lot of liquidity. Generally, we can see that the market is pretty slow at the moment, but we can start to build scenarios, build potential trades after the announcement will be published. Let's go to the chart and see what we've got over there. So looking at the chart, first of all, we would look at the strength indication regarding the Japanese yen. We can say that the Canadian dollar, the pound, and the New Zealand are the strongest currencies. Let me place all of them at the same side. Canadian dollar, New Zealand, approximately the same strength. The New Zealand is the strongest currency at the moment. Swiss franc is pretty strong as well. The dollar is one of the weakest, not because it's expressing weakness, but because of lack of confidence that we've got at the moment on behalf of the US market. Okay, so that completes the entire scenario. We can see that the New Zealand, Canadian dollar, and pound and Swiss franc are the strongest currencies in the market. We can say that the dollar, the euro, and the Australian dollar are the weaker currencies, and the dollar is one of the weakest. And we can say that the Japanese yen is the weak currency as well. The dollar and the Japanese yen are approximately the same strength, meaning that trading the New Zealand, Canadian dollar, and pound in front of the dollar and Japanese yen will be a good choice to trade. Right now, you can see that Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen is implying a good potential for a call option. That's a great trade, great potential for an uptrend. Again, a trend line above the entire corrective pattern will imply when other traders see that potential and joining that potential with an uptrend. A cross and a close above the trend line will signal that movement. We can't see that movement against the Japanese yen taking form in front of many currencies, but we can expect to see that later on this day after the announcement on the Canadian dollar will deliver some sort of liquidity that will help other currencies to express the strength and weakness that's already going in the market at the moment. Let's go over potential trades on the on-demand instrument. We can see that generally the market is not giving us a lot of potential trades. Looking at the euro versus the Australian dollar on 5-minute chart, we can see a potential for a downtrend. We had a great trade over here on a 15-minute chart, if I'm not mistaken. We had a trade. Yeah, there we go. We had a good signal over here for a put option on the euro versus the Australian dollar. At the moment, obviously, we can't join this trend, but we can assume that it will continue the same movement. We saw that the Australian dollar is one of the strongest currencies, not one of the strongest, but approximately at the middle. We do expect to see fluctuation level over here, just a sideways choppy overlapping movement, but at the moment we can't really participate in a trade because we don't have a specific indication for that one. Great trade, Australian dollar versus the US dollar for a call option. Look at that, stochastic at the bottom, RSI at the top. Good signal for a call option. We've got a cross. That's an amazing trade, and I will take that in a minute after the session. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, not the one. Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Okay, on demand, the next one. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, we don't have a lot of good trades. I said that just a second ago. The euro versus Japanese yen is approaching a potential, but again, you can see that the RSI is fluctuating around the 50 level, and it's not a good place to trade a specific asset, obviously. Pound versus US dollar, I assume that we had a good indication on a 5-minute chart. Yeah, we did. As the RSI is way into a call option range, and the stochastic dropped down and gave us a good entrance point over here for a call option. At the moment, again, I can't use this trade, but I can definitely assume that it will proceed the same movement, the same motion, will proceed higher, meaning a stronger pound in front of a weaker US dollar. And I'm expecting this movement to extend once the Canadian dollar will express whether strength or weakness in the market. And we can definitely assume that at 1:30 p.m. GMT time, we'll have another good trade on the pound versus US dollar for a call option. The gold and the US dollar are approximately the same strength and weakness. We can see this choppy overlapping movement, sideways movement without a specific indication whether for an uptrend or a downtrend. My assumption, because that is a good example for an Elliott wave analysis, is that we had an A movement higher, a B dropping down, and a C is expected before we will collapse down, indicating a stronger dollar in the market. That is my expectation. At the moment, we're not seeing that on the chart because we're waiting for an announcement on behalf of the from the United States regarding what's going on in Syria. Once we'll have that permission, then we will see the dollar gaining strength in the market. We will see a lot of traders pulling funds out of the market, and because of that, we will see the dollar gaining strength and the gold and the silver dropping down. That is my assumption. We can see the same structure occurring on the silver, an impulse movement higher with a 5 move. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have an A, a B, and a C dropping down. I'm expecting it to climb up. We will have a good potential trade on the silver for a call option, just as we're expecting to see on the gold climbing up. I would definitely place a trend line over here at the top of this entire corrective pattern. Once we'll cross that up, then we'll have a good choice to take a call option on the silver. Again, I'm expecting to see a completion of an A, a B, and a C climbing up, and then we will see a drop down indicating a stronger dollar in the market. As I said, a good potential for the Australian dollar for a call option. We can see that it's coming up. It went down to recheck the trend line. Okay, we can see that we had a nice movement lower. We've crossed the trend line. We're bouncing ABC on top of the trend line, and we're expecting to see a continuance of an uptrend. A good trade for a call option over here. And basically that is it. A good potential for Australian dollar versus US dollar for a call option. A good potential for silver and gold for an uptrend. And it's logical, once we can see that the Australian dollar is gaining strength on the US dollar, that's logical to look for an uptrend on the silver and the gold, because the Australian dollar is indicating a potential correlation between the Australian dollar and the gold, and the US dollar obviously has the opposite correlation, meaning that once the Australian dollar is gaining strength in the market, we're expecting the gold and the silver to climb up, and once the dollar is losing strength in the market, we're expecting the gold and the silver to climb up as well. So we've got a potential for both direction in terms of correlation. That concludes our session for today. I wish you all the best with your trades. You've got a lot of good brokers that you can ask a lot of questions sessions and join our sessions and educate yourself, elevate your amount of knowledge, and then have larger and larger amount of profitable trades. All the best with your trades, and bye bye.